You know, you remind me of a very young Peter-potamus.
Huh?
Good comeback.
Oh yeah!
On today's video, we're going to be talking about Slappy Squirrel. Now, who remembers Slappy Squirrel?
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Come on, somebody out there's got to remember. You know, one of those mini segments that would appear in the cartoon The Animaniacs. When most people around the time were talking about the gags from the main trio, the Pinky and the Brain segments. Or heck, even the Minerva Mink segments were more popular. Cause, you know, some people be, a fairy. So in hindsight, it's very easy to see why Slappy segments were very overlooked. The cartoon would be centered around this grumpy, older, witty squirrel who just loved to make jokes, explosions, and make fools out of all her enemies. Well, Slappy the Squirrel would appear from time to time in the show, with a total of 36 appearances throughout the show's 99-episode run over the span of 5 years. So she appeared in over a third of the series episodes. Yeah, I know, some good quick math. Oh boy. So yeah, that makes her a top contender for a very important character.
We got it. No need to bludgeon us with it. Now get out of here. Skippy and I got a cartoon to do. I'm too old for this. Let's go home, Skippy.
Why was Slappy created, you might ask? Well, Slappy was created as a joke by writer and voice actress Sherry Stoner. Stoner, who also wrote for Tiny Toons Adventures, had a history of playing troubled teenagers in TV movies during her early career. Friend and writer John McCann joked that she would be playing a troubled teenager until she was 50, and this gave Stoner an idea. It gave her the idea to invent her old lady voice when she was pitching the Slappy character to Stephens Spielberg, you know, the creator of Animaniacs. So she decided why not use the voice, and Spielberg decided that this character should exist and she would use that style of voice for Slappy the Squirrel. And the voice of Slappy would continue on, and the one you hear today is the Slappy that we all know. A lot of people would say that Slappy Squirrel was the closest thing to the new generation of Bugs Bunny, and for a lot of Slappy's antics and dry humor, it was really easy to draw parallels of the two.
Yeah, enough Bugs Bunny already. When are they gonna show clips from my cartoons?
Now, who really is Slappy the Squirrel? Well, she has a theme song that pretty much gives you a great detail about what she's all about, but I can't play it for you or I'll get copyrighted. So yeah, moving on.
Put a sock in it.
Starting with her debut in episode 8 of the series with the short titled Slappy Goes Walnuts. Well, in the episode, she tries some of her nephew's cereal, and that cereal ends up tasting pretty crappy and disgusting. So she decides to go steal some walnuts from the tree next door, guarded by this crazy dog. And then a bunch of wild shenanigans would ensue, and it would all take place over some damn walnuts. I guess sometimes you just gotta have that nut. Hey, that didn't matter to Slappy. Slappy didn't care what the situation was. She was going to try to do whatever she could to get her way. And that was another thing that made Slappy great. She wasn't backing down to nobody, no matter how big or petty the circumstance would be. In one episode, she is called out by this neighbor chipmunk because she decided to throw a can in her trash can. Like, is it really that big of a deal? And until the neighbor had to try to start something, and I promise you, you wouldn't want to try to be a part of anything negative with Slappy. Because like I said before, Slappy ain't backing down to her. She about to end this chipmunk's whole career.
If I were a better person, I'd ignore her and go on with my life. But I'm not.
Making so many more enemies throughout the show, either it being from past enemies like Sid the Squid, Beanie the Bison, or more often than not, her crazy escapades with Walter the Wolf, who would pretty much be a funny character as well, but definitely not on Slappy's level. In one episode, a couple of cartoon critics, definitely not a parody of the famous critics at the time, Seskel and Ebert, well, they were taking jabs at her and pretty much saying that Slappy was overrated and she wasn't funny at all.
Codger, have you ever laughed at a Slappy Squirrel cartoon?
Never. She repulses me.
So, what does she do? Well, she decides to go blow up their house. Yeah, we're getting some help from her nephew, Skippy, of course, who is like her biggest fan and would do anything to try to make Slappy happy. Skippy in most gags would be the voice of the juveniles and the scenarios of how a kid would see things from their point of view and how the many of the situations that Slappy finds herself in at times. Trying to give that young and innocent angle while still implementing Slappy's witty, dry, and heavy sarcastical humor, which makes for an epic mix of entertainment.
Heh, heh, heh. There's one.
Her catchphrase, "Now that's comedy," it usually was delivered after implementing physical injury and humiliation upon her opponents, which was very many in the show. Some of the most funniest scenes I can remember from Slappy would be the Halloween gags and also her fake funeral for Walter the Wolf. I would highly go say check those out when you get the chance. I'll put the links in the description. And you get a really good laugh out of it. Slappy was just one of those characters that it really didn't matter what she was doing. Heck, in one episode, she spends her whole time trying to bust a nut wide open. And yeah, it was still quite entertaining with many over-the-top maneuvers just to show how frustrated she really was. Even though you just always knew she was going to get the upper hand on her enemies and wind up on top. You were just so engaged and curious on how she was going to pull it off. Slappy the Squirrel is a character that deserves a lot more recognition and praise for her awesome antics and wonderful performances in the show. And it would always make me laugh. Tell me, what did you guys think of Slappy the Squirrel? Do you remember Slappy? Or did you have a favorite Animaniacs character? Hey, just let me know below. Don't forget to like and share or whatever, and I'll see you next time. And remember to stay awesome. Cory out. Peace!